This episode of Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
This is Phil Perich, and you are listening to the Capes and the Lunatics Sidekicks Podcast.
That's right, kids. You saw the signs coming, and here it is. Welcome to the first episode of our brand new show, The Devil You Know, the Daredevil Podcast.
I mean, it's not new. It's not new to the Southgate Media Group per se. We did borrow this from Maz and Charlie.
Yeah, but the format's a little different because they were talking the TV show.
Which we'll probably get to eventually.
Yes, we'll talk everything Daredevil.
But yeah, so shout out to the boys. Make sure you go listen to Full Steam Ahead.
Yes, on the Capes and Lunatics. Yes, full stream ahead. But yes, for those of you who may be tuning in for the first time, I am Phil, and the podcaster without fear, and she who has killed more men than Elektra. It is.
Hey y'all, it's Lil, Hell Kitchen's other angel. You know.
Nice.
AKA Foggy. I could be the Foggy. It's fine.
No.
Definitely not Karen.
Oh.
It won't get there, sir.
That's right.
So, you know, we're basic. So we're starting off with like one of the best runs.
Yeah, and it kind of covers the origin, so it makes sense for an episode one.
Sense.
And we talked about it yesterday. Daredevil, the man without fear.
Yeah.
From 1993. 94.
October to 93 to February 94.
Yes.
And it is an origin piece, but surprisingly, this quality comes from Frank Miller, and it's got art by John Romita. So Junior.
But no, I was reading in the back of this the trade I have from a few years ago. They were saying this was originally planned to be a graphic novel.
Yep.
But then they I guess they can't, they weren't doing the graphic novels anymore, so then they just made it a miniseries.
Smart, honestly.
Which
graphic novels will not save the industry. It never had the potential in the 90s, 2000s, or now. Looking at you, I'm not Starfire and that whole plan over at DC.
Oh.
So yeah, I think it was smart that they went ahead and mixed that idea.
But it's like no graphic novels. They made it a miniseries, which then got collected in trade many, many times. But no, I mean, again, this started in 93. I think it was, Frank Miller hadn't gone completely off the rails yet.
Exactly. And that's why I made mentions like it's high quality from Frank Miller. This was his peak time. Oh, look at him go.
Look at me.
Couldn't help himself, guys.
That's right.
Are those prescription?
No. I can't see a thing, get it?
Seeing red.
Including the soundboard. So I don't know how long I could do this. But yeah, so I think Frank Miller does better with like origin stories, like Batman.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, it's like with the origin stories, you kind of have a roadmap. You kind of know where you have to be at the end of it. I mean, when he does those,
it also gives him wiggle room to kind of embellish and flourish what he likes.
Yeah, but I just mean with like Dark Knight Returns, those future stories. It's like basically wow, to do whatever he wants. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you got to have a roadmap and rein him in a bit. That's what you're saying. That's the key to getting the most out of Frank Miller.
Exactly. Oh, I was gonna say I can't see my screen when I do that. Oh, perfect for this podcast.
Exactly.
All
and
right.
honestly, for an origin story, what better style is there than film noir, which Frank Miller is like known for?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I get the film noir feel for this.
And it's dealing in like that gritty gangster underbelly of the streets thing too. So that really everything just kind of coalesced into a perfect storm of storytelling for this particular arc.
Oh yeah. All right, so should we get to the first one?
Let's do it. We got 5 issues.
Yes. The Man Without Fear, number 1, October 1993. All right. Again, these might be, yep, this is the long summaries. All right. Matt Murdock grows up in Hell's Kitchen. A police officer is lecturing a number of children in the neighborhood because they were using a fire hydrant to cool down. Matt, wearing a mask, rides by on his skateboard and steals the cop's nightstick. He hides it in the gym his father, Battlin' Jack Murdock, trains in. His father is a boxer, but tonight he is alone. He's holding a photograph, crying over a woman named Maggie. Matt helps him to bed. Ah. At the gym, Jack is being beat up by Slade. The fixer is trying to offer him a job as an enforcer, but Jack refuses. Jack tells them they can kill him, but he won't work for them. Fixer tells him he won't only kill Jack, but he will kill his son Matt as well. Jack continues to box, but when he isn't in the ring, he's collecting for the fixer. Jack wants his son to study and make something out of himself, not to be anything like him. Matt comes home from school one afternoon proud of himself. A boy was picking on him and he stood up for himself and fought back. Jack is upset.
Wait a minute. I've heard this story. I've seen this story. It's on the Flash. Run, Barry, run.
Did Frank Miller do it first?
Of course.
Run, Barry, run.
Jack is upset and hits Matt. I mean, I don't like Matt getting hit, but I do like that. This sends Matt down a path to learn the rules and laws. That's when he makes his. It's like if Dad can break the rules, anyone can break the rules. That makes him a lawyer.
And then he gets his butt broken.
Ooh. To see people held accountable, yes. Matt spends his time studying. When he's picked on at school, he just stands there and takes it. Though he doesn't fight, he spends the time he isn't studying at the gym training. On a picture-perfect day, Matt sees the last thing he will ever see. A blind man is crossing the street, and there's a truck heading straight to him. In a second, Matt reacts and jumps to push the man out of the way. The truck swerves, and the barrels in the back crash to the street, spilling the contents into Matt's eyes and on some turtles in the sewers.
Oh, you beat me to it.
Matt is rushed to the hospital in much pain. Eventually, the pain goes away, but he is blind. The rest of his senses are heightened to superhuman levels. He is visited by a nun while in the hospital. Back at home, he overhears his father talking with representatives from the company whose chemicals ended up in Matt's eyes. They threaten him with exposing his connection with the fixer. Matt is pitied by all except for one, Stick. Stick, who is also blind, begins to train Matt on how to use his other senses. Matt excels and begins to be able to do things he couldn't do when he could see. Jack is jogging, training for his next fight. He is stopped by the fixer. The fixer tells him that he hasn't earned any of his knockouts, that he had been fixing his fights for a while now, setting him up for a big fall. He wants Jack to take a dive in his next fight so that he can make a bundle. During the fight, Jack is in his corner, and one of the fixer's men come up to him and tell him to take a fall. He decides he's not going to, and Jack knocks out his opponent. He knows his son is watching, and he wants to show him to never quit. Jack walks out of the arena into an alley. Waiting for him is Fixer and a number of his men. They beat Jack to within an inch of his life. He is bloodied and toothless, but he still offers up a smile. Fixer puts his gun in Jack's mouth and pulls the trigger.
Blam.
So, thoughts?
Well, you gotta stay out of those dark alleyways in any major city, apparently.
Especially if you're a parent.
What I like about this issue is at the beginning where they really emphasize Matt's childhood.
Yes.
Like a classic, New York City kid playing stickball in the street, breaking open the fire hydrant. I really love that feel at the beginning of the issue.
Exactly.
The bubble gum, it's just everything's just really well plotted.
And like I said, I mean, I like that we actually see the moment he decides to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
I do like that.
Not a good one, just a lawyer.
Well,
any type of lawyer will do. He could have been a real estate lawyer for all we know.
Seriously.
Would have made more money.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not about that.
It's not about that. It doesn't matter. All right, so
Wait, do you have any favorite panels or anything?
I don't know about this. I thought
I
it.
like the splash of him and Stick training across the rooftops.
Oh yeah. You get some good splash pages in this series. Yeah, the double splash of them running
He's
across.
playing. He's got a bow and arrow. I'm just like, calm down. That's somebody else's shtick. Hawkeye would like to have a word with you.
And I do like, even before anything happens, he's, first couple pages he's already in a mask.
Yeah.
He loves that.
We'll get to that later.
Oh yeah.
We made mention of it over on Comic Capers, but we'll get to that later.
He's wearing that ski mask as a kid.
Yeah.
All right. I'm ready for issue 2.
Let's do it.
All right. So issue 2, November 93. Matt must identify the body of his father. He's able to get the sense of the killers. Mikhail and Gillian are drunk walking the streets. Matt taunts them and lures them into a dark alley. An hour later, a cop is standing over their beaten and bloody bodies. One of them mumbles to the cop that they are attacked by Jack Murdoch, but that they had killed him. Next, Marcello and Slade are at the gym. Slade! Slade is trading, hitting the heavy bag. The lights go out and Slade tries to find Marcello. He trips over his body, beaten on the floor. A spotlight shines down in the middle of the boxing ring and Matt Murdock is standing there with a mask on. He tosses his bat aside and Slade steps into the ring. Slade towers over him, but Matt takes out his knee and, with a roll of pennies in his hand, punches him in the face continuously. Quarters would have been better. Quarters would have been
heated
better.
up pennies. That's how you do it. Actually, it's a bag of hot nickels. That's what you want.
Or just a sock of pool balls.
Any of these options will do.
That's right, kids. Slade is out. The door opens and Fixer sees what is happening. He makes a run for it, telling his driver Angelo to get them out of there. Matt follows the car from the rooftops. Matt jumps on top of the car and the car crashes. Doesn't this always happen in Frank Miller stories?
It's a thing, apparently, that happens in New York. I'll go with it. I'll believe it.
Fixer has his gun out and points at Matt, but Matt just keeps walking toward him. Matt can hear the Fixer's heart. It's pounding and fluttering, and then it stops. Fixer is dead, and Angelo is the only one left. Matt tracks Angelo to a brothel. Matt jumps through the window and onto Angelo. Matt is attacked by a number of women there. Matt thrashes, trying to get free, and one of the women goes flying out the window to her death, which
we'll get there.
We talked about a little, yes, on Comic Capers 98, yes. Matt runs out horrified at what he has just done. He runs back to the gym yelling for Stick, but Stick isn't there. Stick is a few blocks away talking with Stone. He tells Stone that after this night's events, Matt has failed and is of no use to him. 1 year later, Matt is attending Columbia University. He is consoling his roommate and friend, Franklin Foggy Nelson, who has been picked on by another student named Brad.
Of course it's Brad.
It's the male Karen. The next night, Brad...
Actually, that would be Chad, but...
Oh!
No offense. That's what they call him.
The next night, Brad is found naked and tied up on the tennis courts with a warning to leave Foggy alone. The next morning, Brad apologizes to Foggy for the way he's been acting. A girl named Kathy hits on Matt, but he will have nothing of it and walks off to class. Later that night, after Foggy has fallen asleep, Matt gets dressed and takes to the rooftops. He's running wild there, dancing with the night. Suddenly, he catches the scent of a woman up there with him. She takes off.
Who is he, Al Pacino? Boom!
Hey-oh! Hoo-ah! She takes off and he chases. He follows her through the park. She has left articles of clothing as a trail.
Don't fall for it, homie.
I know. See that underwear hanging on that branch? No. The cops arrive and detain him. He remembers the woman who fell to her death and decides to follow the rules and not run. They see no girl and realize that he is blind. Elektra is getting dressed, watching on and smiling. The cops tell him it was dumb to be walking through the park at that time of night alone. The next day, Matt is walking with Foggy. Elektra pulls up in her car, and without a word from either her or Matt, he jumps into her car, leaving Foggy behind, who's upset that she almost ran them over. She's driving like a maniac, and Matt likes it. It makes him feel alive. She stops, and they get out. They are standing at the edge of a cliff. She tells Matt that they are two of a kind, different from everyone else. They live on the brink, drawn to the edge, and sometimes over. She leans back over the cliff, and Matt is again reminded of the woman who he knocked to her death. So, that Elektra crazy.
Oh, you know, the crazy ones.
Well, yes. Yes, I do, Lilith Hellfire.
Hey, I resemble that comment.
Oh, come on, miss. I skydived on a first date.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in like 80 car accidents and I'm still alive. Whatever.
You are driving crazy.
I'm a very responsible driver, sir.
That's your
Other
new-
people. I live in Florida, sir.
That's your new nickname, Elektra.
Better than Karen. This issue I don't really care so much about because, like, I feel like Foggy should have been developed a little bit more, or their relationship a little bit. It's just kind of like glossed over. Y'all know I ship Foggy and Matt. Y'all can hashtag deal with that. So.
Oh my. I mean, we get more of him in the upcoming issues and stuff.
We do, but like I feel like that the college experience is very formative for him, and we kind of just gloss over it. That's all.
Yeah.
But still good story. Still great artwork. Love the Elektra thing. It's a little John Byrne-esque, but it's fine.
Oh, what? Just what Elektra getting naked while
yeah,
he's
just
shooting her?
random nakedness ensues.
And meanwhile, what? They're like, she's driving in a convertible with the top down in the middle of winter. It's snowing like crazy, and I don't think she's even wearing shoes, is she?
She's not. Actually, that's some of my favorite panels, honestly. So.
Oh, of course. What, that short, tight skirt and the top, yeah. Of course, it'd be your favorite, Lilith Hellfire. What, that one?
Yeah, that one.
Whee!
I also like the take on "This is where we belong," always on the brink.
Yeah. And again, another great splash page of him jumping over rooftops.
Yeah. I like the aerial acrobatics of it all.
Exactly.
Like they really like lean into that whole Daredevil thing.
The ninja training, yeah.
Yeah. Not unlike some other person that wears trunks.
Hey-oh.
They're black trunks, nevertheless, but.
All right, so ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
All right, so
This is a great cover, number 3.
yeah, oh yeah. Just her fighting those goons at the bottom there. From December 1993. So Elektra's falling from the cliff. She crashes through the ice and into the water. Matt jumps in after her. He is trying to find her underwater, but cannot. He rushes to the surface to get her breath. As he does, he can hear Elektra laughing as she speeds away in her car. Matt gets home drenched and pissed. Foggy tells him where she lives. That sounds like you. You leave a guy in a frozen lake.
Allegedly.
Matt shows up at Elektra's mansion. Whoa. Might have lost love. Matt shows up at Elektra's mansion. There's a party going on, and security is tight. Matt manages to sneak through the grounds and gets into Elektra's room. He feels all of her first place trophies for swimming, track, aikido, kendo, karate. Matt starts down the hall, and a dog charges him. He kicks the dog. All right. Lilith is back. Hit the button.
No.
Okay.
Armadillos.
Oh, okay. But yeah,
They demand my attention. I apologize.
That's okay. Yes, no, he just snuck into he was in Elektra's room feeling up all her stuff. All her
That's not hashtag creepy.
All her first place stuff. Yes, and then he starts down the hall and a dog charges him. He kicks the dog.
Matthew Michael Murdoch. Shame on you.
Well, at least he only puts the dog like on the floor. Probably kicks a guard through a window.
Him and windows. I think that's his arch nemesis.
But no, probably.
Is that why? Wait a minute. Is that why Wilson Fisk is always wistfully staring out a window?
Sad music playing. Beneath the window is a room of glass where the party's being held. Electra's playing the piano. The guard crashes through the glass ceiling and right onto the piano. Electra never stops playing. That should be our first clue. The guards take aim and fire up at the window where Matt is standing. He takes off running. Matt is upset with himself for breaking the rules again. Matt is shot as he makes his mistake. Matt is back in his apartment. He's cleaning up his gunshot wound, blocking out his senses to keep conscious. When he stops the bleeding and lets the world back in, he realizes he isn't alone, and it isn't Foggy. Foggy is at the door, locked out. Matt says to give him a minute. 20 minutes later, Foggy is sitting at the door and Electra walks out. Foggy walks in and the place is a mess, and Matt is sitting on the floor with a smile on his face.
She's really a very nice girl, Foggy. Very nice girl.
Just a little rough. Electra's in the city. She sees a group of 5 gangbangers who she overhears bragging about what they've done to innocent women. She lures them into a dark alley. They block the way out, and she begins to undress. She promises not to scream. 2 of them go to hold her while another pulls out a knife to cut off what little clothes she has left on.
No,
okay.
Again, that's her thing.
That's true. Okay. The summary says this, not me. She kicks him in his junk and knees him in the jaw, snapping a vertebrae and killing him instantly. The others attack, but eventually she kills them all. Electra and Matt
won't be happy about that.
Oh no, they even says, yeah, she hears these voices who want innocent victims, but at least she takes out evildoers. Electra and Matt are training together, falling more and more in love. Matt can't even concentrate in class. One night, Stick wakes Matt up and threatens. Don't you hate that when Stick wakes you up at night? Tells Matt to stay away from Electra, that she is dangerous. Matt doesn't listen, though. Unfortunately, not out long after, Electra's father is killed, and she must leave Matt. He doesn't understand. He only knows his heart is broken. Meanwhile, Don Rigoletto is meeting with his men. They are complaining that they are being outcompeted. Rigoletto refuses to murder children or cater to unholy perversions, nor will they flood their streets with crack cocaine. He is upset and sends his men away. Wilson Fisk comes up behind him.
Wilson! Or, oh, Mr. Wilson!
Comes up behind him and begins to give him a massage as Rigoletto tries to relax. Kingpin then snaps his neck and takes his place, ready to become the kingpin of the city.
We built this city.
So wait, so Fisk was like a massage boy. That's how he got in position to become kingpin of crime.
Only in a Frank Miller story. Swear to God.
Oh yeah, there's always in a Frank Miller story.
Although I'll allow it for Catwoman.
True.
It makes sense. It makes sense with the whip.
Oh yeah, with the whip.
This one was interesting. I like this take on Electra.
Oh, you do?
I do. Wild, free, crazy.
Yeah, I like the whole scene at her house, but the rest of it seemed to move a little fast. The pace seemed to really pick up.
That's honest to goodness truth. This is why, I feel like they should have just put it all. Maybe because it was meant to be a graphic novel. I feel like this story is very fast paced. It moves through the story very swiftly.
And again, modern comics.
Maybe to a little bit of a detriment, honestly.
Modern comics could never.
Oh, this would be 12 all day, every day. Maxi series.
Oh, yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah, I like all the Daredevil and Electra panels together.
Oh, yeah.
They even have matching, underwear. So.
Aw.
And he still got his little bullet wound. So.
Oh, yeah.
Continuity, man.
But she's another one, man. That hair could be like its own living entity.
Maybe she's related to Medusa from the Inhumans and we don't know it, okay?
But I find it weird, like her father's killed by terrorists, but we don't see anything about that. Just later, she's like, "Oh, my father's dead."
Well, again, she's a woman in a Frank Miller story.
Yeah.
No need to flesh her out.
No need. Your backstory.
I can tell and not show. It's fine.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like you were saying, even Foggy really doesn't get that fleshed out. It's basically just Matt, and like we get a little on Wilson Fisk. That's about it. Oh, and Stick.
Exactly.
We get like the Stick stuff.
And this is basically just something for them to build off of and spin things out at this point too.
Yeah.
It's still like the jumping on point for new readers, basically.
Yeah. But no, the whole thing with it really should have been a graphic novel, because the trade I have, they really don't tell you when.
It reads like
It doesn't tell you when one issue ends and the other one begins. So yeah, if I wasn't reading these summaries, I really wouldn't even know where these issues end. So, and yeah, it really works. It works as like a one big story instead of split up.
Yeah. But it'd be like $50 in today's money.
Exactly. I bought this for $15.95.
I have actually all the individual issues, so.
Oh, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And I have to definitely get number 1 signed before Frank Miller kicks the bucket. He's getting on in years, so.
I would like to have the individual issues.
I found them in off of eBay in a big comic box, actually. Like, the big bundles they have that you don't know what you're getting. So
kids get all your Daredevil comics now before he hits the MCU.
Seriously, guys, those back issues are gonna be ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin. Last time I saw my comic book shop is actually selling like the number 1 issue for like $40 now, and I'm like, gotta get it on the pull list.
Hey, that's nothing compared to Daredevil 25, where spoilers, Elektra's the new Daredevil. I mean, what's that going for? 100, 150 now or something?
Really?
Oh yeah. I know when for like the day it came out, they said people were already selling it for 100, and last I heard, I think it was up to like 150 or something.
See, speculating comic books is what kills the industry every single time. So I don't know when we as comic book fans are not going to learn our lesson, but hopefully soon.
And they're not worth as much.
Yeah, they're not as valuable as they used to be anymore. Like Last Ronin, I get it, because it's like Eastman and Laird are actually like back doing their thing. So I get that whole hype. But
well, just physically too, because it's like, remember when we had the cheap paper, those things would degrade.
Yeah.
Now, as long as you keep them flat, those things aren't going to degrade.
Yeah. People don't know that. I think people really actually don't know that anymore. Because people still get graded comics. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure.
Sure, Jan.
Sure. It costs like anywhere between like $30 to $50 to actually have the book graded and put in the slab with the sticker. If you don't know that, yeah. Little life pro tip for comic books.
I mean, I think a lot of the people who, a lot of the speculators aren't like big.
Don't know.
They don't know.
Like any trading community.
I know.
That's why it's called speculation.
They don't know that, the books don't degrade. They're not worthless. Oh my!
Unless you have alternative comics, those are still printed on newsprint.
That's true. Again, lower the prices. Give us some newsprint.
Yeah, that's just what we need. We need more speculating in the comic book industry. Exactly. Anyway, next issue.
All right, issue 4, Daredevil: The Man Without Fear, issue 4 from January 1994.
Oh, but also shout out to Wilson Fisk putting the rose in his lapel. Just put that feather in your cap for later.
Exactly. All right, so Kingpin builds his criminal.
This one is my favorite issue, not gonna lie. From the cover to the ending, I love this one.
Kingpin builds his criminal empire alongside his mercenaries and his right-hand man, Larks. Matt graduates law school and gets a job at a large law firm in Boston. They send him to New York for a case where he reminisces about his childhood. He's stopped by a group of muggers, but deciding that they are no different than the bullies that taunted him as a child, he fights them and hurts them all severely. He then returns to his father's old gym, now abandoned, where he meets a young girl named Mickey. She reminds Matt of his younger self.
Mickey, you're so fine. Oh no.
I don't think we ever learned her real name, because when she says her name's Mickey and she's an orphan, and doesn't Matt say, yeah, hypersenses say those are both lies.
Street kids can have their own names. Leave her alone, Matt.
Yes, these young kids can make up their own names. Lilith Hellfire.
It's a stage name. Thank you very much. For tax purposes.
Oh, it's a tax shelter. Okay. After weeks in New York, Matt runs into his former roommate, Foggy Nelson, and they catch up. He helps Foggy with a case against a slumlord, and Matt remembers that he became a lawyer because he wanted to do good. Kingpin orders his men to cut costs in their film division. The order goes
Rabbit
down.
ears.
It's not in the. I added the rabbit ears. Film. The order goes down the chain of command until 2 drug addict criminals are ordered to kidnap a young girl. They kidnap Mickey. Matt leaves for
We
the
didn't
airport.
see that coming.
Yeah, I know. Matt leaves for the airport so he can go back to Boston, but decides to say goodbye to Mickey first.
Wait, does he own a pizza parlor?
I know where you're going with that, Lilith Hellfire.
I thought they were Boston Pizza owners.
Matt Kona does not appreciate any of this, Lilith Hellfire.
Yeah, whatever.
He decides that he's on the way to the airport, decides to stop to see Mickey first. Upon reaching the gym, he finds her hat on the ground, which he had never known her to take off. He uses
Wait a minute. Who is this little Hellfire?
I know. She sleeps in it. She drinks in it. Wait, they've been working out for a week, so the whole time in the gym, she never took the hat off? Guess not. He uses the address in her hat to find her home. Criminals call the home to ransom her. One of the criminals calls her boss to tell him that the kid is being ransomed against his wishes. Kingpin sends Larks to set things straight. Matt watches Mickey's father deliver the ransom money in a drop-off. He waits until the criminal takes the money and then follows him. Larks kills the criminal and sees Matt. Kingpin deduces that this must have been a vigilante. Mickey is taken to a warehouse where several children are being kept, but Matt follows Larks. He moves silently through the facility, taking out all the guards and sabotaging the getaway car. All right, Lilith Hellfire.
This one, honestly, this is the thing. I feel like, and for better or for worse, take this as a neutral statement, please. This wasn't as violent as I was expecting it to be from Frank Miller.
Oh.
And I think that's kind of why I like it so much. Like, he's very subdued in his over the top ways. Do you know what I mean? And it just kind of makes me a little sad that not a lot more people can rein Frank Miller in. Looking at UDC.
I was going to say, do you think that was a mandate to tone it down a little bit?
But I mean, it would have been kind of perfect to be over the top because of the particular way that he was presenting the underbelly of New York.
Yeah.
It feels very reserved and restrained. And I kind of appreciate that.
I love you. You're just like, oh yeah, it's not that, he's standing there over those street punks he beat. There's like blood.
But it's Frank Miller. It could be a million times more graphic. He puts the graphic in graphic novel, okay? Suck it, Kona. Like I said, this is my favorite issue. It's like, he's trying to give back to his community, as it were, in the best way he knows how to.
Exactly. Oh, I could just see a young Lilith Hellfire reading this. I could be Mickey.
No, I would always be Matt. Although I wouldn't be a terrible lawyer if I wanted to be a lawyer. So
I told you, you're Electra. Again, another splash page of him standing in the rain
on the rooftops. Although, you know what I really do miss is the gothic iconography of the gargoyles. That is the one thing that is missing from this story, though.
Exactly.
That's like Batman, and rooftops and gargoyles. I feel like these two characters are definitely synonymous with that. So.
Oh, and look, that Billy Club is still the nightstick's still there in their locker all these years. Aw.
When you can't remember your combination.
He just like kicks the locker in.
I can relate.
And then this whole thing when, Larks is shooting at him on the staircase, that kind of reminded me of like a scene from Born Again.
Yeah, definitely.
I wonder if that was intentional or not.
He'll never admit it.
Well, no, I just wonder if like Ramita was inspired by Born Again. Or if that was like an intentional shout out to Born Again. Because Frank Miller might have just said, yeah, put him on a staircase, but Oh my lord. Dressing Mickey up in that dress. Jeez.
Hates every minute of it. I can relate.
Ew, a dress. All right, so you ready for the last one?
Oh yeah, it's got classic Daredevil on the cover.
A big red suit and a small yellow suit. All right, so yes, the last one from February 94.
Hey, look, it's that guy from the TV show.
What?
No, you know how in Daredevil on the TV show he starts off like that.
Oh, yeah. All right, so. All right, Lilith Hellfire, control yourself. Matt blows up the dock, causing everyone to rush out to find him. He fights them all. Fights them all.
Fight me, nerds! Fight me, bullies!
Oh my.
Fight me, nerd!
3 more men in a truck chase him off while Larks smuggles Mickey out of the building and into a car. Several policemen show up and tackle Matt, put him in handcuffs, and throw him into a police car. Again, isn't this Batman Year One?
Shh. Marvel nerds don't know. Shh.
Oh, that's at Lilith Hellfire. At the same time, Mickey screams for Matt, not realizing that this allows him to hear her exact location. Matt escapes and steals the police car as Larks kills a taxi driver and steals the taxi cab. Matt and Larks engage in a car chase until they crash, and Larks takes Mickey into a building. Matt follows them in. Larks threatens to shoot Mickey, but Matt simply repeats the phrase, "I don't want to kill you. Let her go." Larks tries to shoot Matt, but he deflects the bullet with his walking stick. After one more warning, Larks shoots again, and Matt deflects the bullet back at Larks, killing him.
He's got magic powers, see?
Yeah,
Gonna get you.
that's what Mickey thinks. Kingpin hears of the Daredevil and finds himself worried about this new character. Matt decides to stay in New York and start a law firm with Foggy. Stick walks by, only warning Matt not to get cocky. Matt jumps across the rooftops dressed in his Daredevil costume for the first time.
He sewed it together by filling the colors, see? Never forget! Know your history, love your roots.
Yeah, wasn't the yellow suit in honor of his father?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can't be mad about that.
And I shall be a Daredevil, father.
I do like the interesting take about Wilson Fisk, though. I do.
Yeah.
I wish they would have followed up on that. Like, he honestly, Kingpin needs, like, out of all the villains in, like, the Marvel's Rogues Gallery, he is the least fleshed out. Less so than the Vulture, even, honestly.
True.
Because it's just that recycled, tidbit about him. He's
Well,
a gangster.
he
He
did
wants to be a legitimate businessman.
Well, they did say he was friends for years with that 616 Miles Morales.
Yeah.
They met in
But, come on.
prison.
That's not interesting. That's a cop out. Hashtag fight me. I don't know what to tell you.
Spend this.
Exactly. And y'all know I love me some business Miles Morales, but there's some questionable content still.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I love how, yeah, like Kingpin knew he was a Daredevil was a vigilante. Well, Matt was a vigilante because he's like, yeah, all the police are on the payroll and none of my rivals would
New
care.
York City's full of them, to be fair.
Oh, yeah. What, this point?
Well, I mean, they're not really talking about it, but yeah. Forever and for always. It's just one of those things in the Marvel Universe. Always has been and always will be.
Is this another menace like that Jameson talking about?
He wishes. He wishes he could get the press coverage Spider-Man gets.
But I mean, yeah, some great fight scenes, like, get that splash page and
I wonder if those are wrestling shoes because, those shoes are very quiet. Very fitting for an urban ninja, if you will.
they look bigger like sneakers. Do they make like wrestling shoes that big?
I know they look pretty flat, so that's what I was asking. I don't know.
Maybe.
Because if those are Adidas are kind of squeaky. As an Adidas fan, I can say that. But yeah, Adidas are kind of squeaky, bro.
He's a ninja. Maybe he can wear any shoes.
Oh, touche.
But again, yes, he pulls the year one and gets arrested by the cops and has to break out of the cop car.
Or pulls a Joker, whatever you like. Whatever you like.
And there's always a kid to rescue at the end. This time it was Mickey, and year one it was Gordon's son.
Exactly. James Gordon Jr.
Yeah, that turned out well.
Thanks a lot, Batman. Dick
job.
sends his regards.
Oh, thank you, Lilith Hellfire.
You're welcome. Feel free to use it on Nightwing News.
Oh yeah.
But no, this is, like I said, it's classic, it's epic, it's seminal, it's essential.
Exactly.
Great artwork. Like, sometimes, look, y'all can get mad at me. Sometimes John Romita Jr. rests on his laurels and gets a little lazy. But that is not the case with this one. I feel the passion for this project out of Jr. So and it's kind of an odd team up for me too. I would have never pegged those two to work together. Because they both have very big egos. So
Well, I wonder if they picked Romita Jr. because he had worked on the regular Daredevil book with Ann Nesenti for a while.
That's a good point.
So they knew he could draw some Daredevil.
Yeah, this story pulled the absolute best out of him, in my personal opinion.
Oh yeah. And again, it's like, when you get a good inker and stuff. But yeah, I mean, yeah, the art in this is great. Again, I think it's still, become a classic. A story has to have good story and good art.
Yeah, it has to like I said, it was the perfect storm of storytelling for comic books. It just came together.
But yeah,
and, honestly, a lot of older critics that I read, they like to think of the 90s as the low point for comic creativity, and I just have to totally disagree, and that just kind of shows that they're total boomers when they say things like that, because I feel like the 90s was just a rejuvenating renaissance. Yeah, we had Death of Superman and Nightfall and things like that, but it really did rejuvenate the comic industry, love it or hate it. And I think that it's just so disingenuous to say that it was a creative low point. I just see a lot of older reviewers say things like that.
Oh, I know. I mean, it's just and it's
definitely not the nostalgia for me, because I love Golden Age and I can call it out for the cheesy, corny stuff that I love. But I don't think that me loving 90s stuff is nostalgia. I think it's kind of not even, I think it's very objective and not subjective at all. That is some of the best storytelling came out of the 90s.
No, I mean, there was good stuff in the 90s, just because some of the stuff was ultra violent and, skimpy costumes and all that. I mean,
it's comic books, it's fantasy fulfillment, and you have to update with the times for every generation or get left behind. Looking at you, comics in 2020.
And find me any year. I mean, you can pick out good and bad in any year in comics.
Yeah. So that's just something that I brought up when I was doing the research for this, is that a lot of people were like, oh, we're so shocked. This comes out of the dreck of the 90s, the early 90s at that, I'm just
Exactly.
hey now. Yeah, it's kind of shocking to go back and read old reviewers that are you can tell they're super old.
Yeah. But
very curmudgeonly.
But in this trade I got, they said when they went from the graphic novel to miniseries, they had to take a couple pages out. There's a page of Matt following Mickey's father into the subway, and then there's Matt hanging on to the kidnappers, the roof of his car and stuff.
Because that's his thing. That's what he loves to do.
And of course, we got a big close up of the Kingpin.
Oh, that's great. That's a great poster.
Smoking his fancy cigarette.
Yeah, I didn't want to point it out. I didn't want to be that person, but yeah, smoking a fancy cigarette.
Or a holder.
Too good to get nicotine on his fingertips. See?
I was gonna say, that fancy cigarette holder. Who's think he is, the Red Skull?
What is that? A Virginia Slim in there?
Newport.
Yeah, excellent. If you've never read it, I think you should read it.
Yes.
If you've never known where to start with Daredevil, this is a great one. I think it's highly recommended. It's probably number one on most people's list, I think.
Especially if you're not too familiar with the origin story. I mean, yeah, I think this is definitely a must read.
Yeah, and I think honestly, like I said, I think it was definitely written as a jumping on point because like it is not too fleshed out. If you really want to know more, you can either read back issues or continue reading from that point forward, and you just have the general gist of things.
Exactly. It was a
So,
big, yeah.
This is an A+. Yeah, it's a Frank Miller story, but it's an A+.
Yeah, again, this is one of the good Frank Miller stories before he went off the rails. Yes.
You know, I'm still waiting on that next Sin City. That's all that I'm saying. Calling him out now.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis is old. Give me my next Sin City movie.
I mean, like you called out the noir feel and stuff, and I think that works better for even Daredevil than even Batman.
Absolutely. Although, like I said, very similar with the, you know, especially their origins with the dark gangster, gritty underbelly of their city. You know, even though, you know, Batman's parents are like rich and die in an alley, you know, Jack stands up for what he believes in and gets kind of killed, you know?
Yeah, because I don't know if it's because he's more of a known quantity or because he is the rich kid, but yeah, I think the Frank Miller works even better on Daredevil than he does on Batman.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, his dad was already in the underbelly, so he was already underbelly adjacent, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And he, you know, he grew up poor in the streets playing stickball.
Exactly.
It's just so much more authentic and believable. You see all the crime and corruption and your parent loses a life in that kind of manner on top of living that life. It definitely affects you kind of more. You're not as sheltered in your big ivory tower in Gotham Palisades, you know.
And of course he's going to drift to like stick and stuff and like look for like a father figure or like a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and then, you know, you have your senses, your sight taken from you at a young age. It's just a lot of trauma. And that's the thing about Matt is like they just constantly dump on this kid. Like he just can't catch a break in his life.
Exactly.
So I think, yeah, you feel a lot more sympathy and just like, you know, you just really root for that character a lot more. Sometimes you just kind of want Bruce to feel. You're just like, With Matt, you're like, come on. This is the story of Job in comic book form. Give the kid a break.
And Matt's like the underdog, you know. Bruce has all his fancy toys. Matt usually just has like a billy club.
He's lucky to even have an apartment, you know.
Especially when they get blown up.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm so excited to be talking Daredevil. Honestly,
Oh yeah,
it's just so many great things to bring up about the character. So I look forward to it.
All right. So should we tell everyone what's coming up?
What are we reading next? Because I haven't even peeked at the schedule yet. So.
Oh my! All right. So, kind of on a theme. Yes. Next episode in 2 weeks, we'll be covering Daredevil Yellow.
Oh, nice.
By Jeff Loeb. Yes. Tim Sale.
Oh, Jeff Loeb. Jeff Loeb has entered the chat. We haven't talked about Jeff Loeb in a long time.
I know. Yeah.
Was that like Long Halloween or something?
I think so. But yeah, so it'll go a little bit more. Well, it kind of hits just a little bit on the origin, but then it starts covering those first couple Daredevil issues.
Yeah, it's a little more fleshed out, definitely.
So yeah, you'll get like, you know, remember kids, what was it, Daredevil 2 or 3? He fought Electro.
Suck it, Peter.
Oh, whoa, phrasing. And for those of you who haven't read those early issues, yes, we'll get they'll retell the first appearance of the Purple Man.
Ooh, Jessica Jones would like to have a word with you.
Nah, she's like, nah, you can have him. Yeah,
awesome.
and then, coming up in February, we'll be covering the original Daredevil number 7.
Ooh.
Featuring the first appearance of the Red Suit and Namor the Submariner.
It was for me, guys. Phil threw that in for me.
That's right.
And maybe Ray.
That's all right. And of course, we have to finish February off with Daredevil 245, featuring a guest appearance by the Black Panther.
Because you know it's February. I'm kidding.
Never pleaser.
I just want to say that it's a new year and a new devil to get to know. So we look forward to you guys joining us on our journey.
Yes, and please send us your feedback, just general Daredevil feedback on the issues. I mean, you could send us feedback on Man Without Fear. We'll read it next time.
Definitely. And don't forget to join the Facebook group. That's
right. We got a Facebook page. We got a Facebook group. That's right.
I can't believe Facebook actually lets you make another page. Hashtag petty.
Well, the page, I just reused an old one, but yes.
I
But yes, go join the page, which is the name of this podcast. But the Facebook group, the Blind Justice, the Daredevil fan group, please join us there. Just started yesterday. So, hey, get in on the ground floor. All right. So send us your thoughts on this issue or any upcoming ones. Email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And I'll have to update the link tree because, yes, you'll be able to find links to all the Facebook. We're on Twitter, Instagram. Links to all of our various social medias for all of our shows, links to our YouTube channel where you can watch this video. Please go.
Wait a minute. Phil, we just traded in one guy in a red suit that's Spider-Man adjacent for another guy in a red suit that's Spider-Man adjacent.
Yes.
So be sure to also check out Ultimate Spider-Cast.
That's right. Well, that's what I said. Yes, our various other shows, Ultimate Spider-Cast. We even do the DC side of the street. We do some Batman,
some Superman, some Flash.
Batman.
That's right. Over on Capes and Lunatics, we Nightwing News. So yeah,
for everyone.
Oh, and yes, everything stuff for everyone, including a Quasar podcast.
What about our Quasar podcast, The Quantum Zone?
What about our Quasar podcast?
With a real professor, Will Allred, and stand-up comedian Matt Kona.
Suck it, Charlie.
Suck it, Ezra. Anyway, yes, so find links to everything we do all in one place. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics. And of course, please help us support our sponsors, Tweaked Audio.
Get yourself some headphones, kids.
Help yourself.
It's never too early to treat yourself, fool.
Treat yourself. Hear the music like Matt Murdock hears the music with Tweaked Audio. And of course, be like Daredevil himself and hunt a killer.
Michelle Gray needs our help, and you should stay in the house and have family fun time with an escape room in a box.
That's right. And use the code Southgate for both of those for a handy dandy discount.
A coupon.
What?
A coupon.
A coupon. A reusable coupon. Anyway, yes. And for those of you who love to read, go pick up Pod Life, the book, Volume 1, now digital and paperback. Learn the ins and outs of podcasting from the experts.
Nope, not saying it this week.
And the Robert Southgate. Anyway, so yes, so you can pick that up digital or paperback. Audiobook is coming soon. I don't think the Braille is coming.
Well, that's what the audiobook is for.
True. And Volume 2 is coming, so pick that up on Amazon. And when you do, and when you go and pick up your Daredevil merch on Amazon, use the link for Southgate Media Group right down there in the show notes. Help us support this show, The Devil You Know, our various shows, the Southgate Media Group Network, and that man in the back, massaging men for money, Rob, a Master Doom Southgate.
You're fired, Phil.
So says Extra 2. Please kick me in the pants, and you will find out I am right so much more often than I'm wrong. Why did your eye drift over to my box?
Lilith Hellfire.
If you nerds want to hang out with me on the interwebs, find me on Twitter at Lilith Hellfire, on Instagram for puppies and smoothies at Lilith Hellfire 86, and for the memes at Lilith Hellfire 69, both on Instagram and TikTok. Duh.
I'm thirsty for it, bro.
Gimme.
She loves the social medias, kids.
Not really. I'm trying to be really good about it this year, though. So.
Gimme.
I know she'll retweet every TV show, but not our fabulous podcast.
I retweet when I get on Twitter. That's how you know I've been on Twitter, when you see me retweeting everything.
I know.
Cut you, bro.
All right, so that's right. Daredevil.
That's not a waste of butter.
See, kids, yeah.
You don't get it.
What a waste of butter. Oh, what a waste of butter.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us. again, bi-weekly Daredevil. Come back in 2 weeks for Daredevil Yellow. But in the meantime, next week we'll be covering, I believe, for Comic Capers 99, Green Lantern Emerald Twilight. So come for the Daredevil, stay for everything else. And again, send your feedback. We love feedback. Come back next time. We may have feedback from our Australian friend Ray.
I'd love to hear what Ray had to say.
Yeah, that's right. We're global. We're a global enterprise.
Legitimate business people.
So yes, come back next time. Ooh, I'll think of my outro. All right, kids, come back next time. And remember, justice is swift and blind.
And it's better to get with the devil you know than the devil you don't.